introduction. Good evening, everyone. I still kind of like the energy in the room. I think for past 5 p.m., I think we're not doing badly at all. So please, a round of applause for yourselves. Yeah, we are here to talk about the impact of industry support for emerging filmmaking talent. This is one program that, the FILMLAB Africa program. I think, Brenda, we need to talk about that first before we get into this, we dive into this conversation. Where did you start from? How did we get to this program, the FILMLAB program?
Is it on? Oh, okay. Hello. Hi, everybody. Film Lab Africa. Is it on the? Okay. The truth. Okay. The truth is, I made a TV series a few years ago. And I really loved the material. It was a blog that my daughter wrote. I have an adult daughter, so she blogs. And it was about Nigerian parents. Yeah. And she just told us off in the blog. It was Dear Nigerian Parents, XYZ, XYZ. First of all, I was indicted. I was like, oh my God, I've been a terrible parent, But I saw I saw it as material. And so I put a writer's room together and we developed it into a series that was produced by Steve Don. Where's Don? He's not here. He was supervising producer, And that experience, I had worked in television, for a long time, but that particular experience really changed the way I viewed content, audiovisual content. And I didn't have the right information on contracts. I didn't have the right information on production management. I did great production design, but I spent so much money. And if you look online today, you can't find the series. You can't find it anywhere. The platform that commissioned it took it down. Yeah, it wasn't just me. It was all the content on it, So it doesn't exist anywhere in its finished form. What I have are miles and miles of recordings on my hard drives that I hope to develop into a sequel. The series will have a sequel, and I'll move it from there. But it hurt, and I think for me, I didn't have the information, and that's why I ended up there. And I'm not going to blow my own horn too much, but I'm pretty smart. I've been in the sector for almost 17 years, so I've picked up a trick or two. And so to get overwhelmed in that manner, I just thought, and that's what I do. I do a lot of capacity building, and I thought, you that build people, you didn't build yourself. You understand? And so that's where FilmLab was born, as a result of that experience.
Interesting. Yeah, please. Sometimes they say experience is the best teacher, but it actually depends on the lesson that you're learning. Yeah, but I think this actually, it's a good one and a place to actually start from to say, okay, let me fix these things. Let me, use this opportunity to fix, because really, building capacity in the industry is extremely, extremely important. And I'm really excited with the people who are actually on this talent, Tolu with Multi-Choice Academy, and then, of course, with Sukomi, Chasing Filmmakers.
No, Tolu is Ebony Live.
Sorry, Ebony Live, Ebony Live, thank you.
No fire to
And then Sukomi. So I would just want us to just go straight in, for Tolu and Sukomi. How has it been dealing with emerging talents, with filmmakers? What has been the experience? What are those things that you consider the lows and the highs? And for somebody like Brenda, when she was also experimenting, I guess you are in that bracket of an emerging filmmaker. You've won the hearts. So then both of you are also directors. I'm sure you also worked with these guys. So it would be good to also just have a sense of what it has been and what are the things that you think actually stands out working with this guy, with filmmakers. It's working. It's working.
Okay. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. So, it's been several stages for me. I've been a mentor and been doing that for a bit. I my origin story is from Mnet. I was one of the first indigenous Nigerian directors to do tinsel. It used to be done by South Africans. So I was trained, and we just try and pass on what we know. And of course, I've been worked for Accelerate, MTF, and I generally do it. So there are different kinds of people you meet, and what I would say is, it's interesting to look into the eyes of someone that still believes in something you might feel you've seen enough of. Some of our colleagues will know that the industry can make you jaded, but when you're looking into the eyes of someone that's just about to start, and you want to protect that energy because there's something great could come out of it, and you want to say, okay, learn through my mistakes, like Brenda just, rightfully said, and you want to kind of nurture it because you don't know what those people are going to end up. I met a couple of my students outside from other programs, and I'm always amazed to see what they've been able to do, So for me, it's seeing the potential in the class you're about to talk to, and you're also able to build an imagination of what your future could be if you really are relentless and you continue to drive at it. Then there's also another part that I learn. I've been inspired. There's a student of mine that told me about something that I'd not heard of, and they were saying, I want to learn directing so I can make episodic films, but I want to do them as short. So every week I release another short, like vertical short, and it will be episodic. That's what's happening in Asia. And I know, so sometimes the student, you can get inspiration from people that come with a lot of intelligence, and they come with a lot of energy to get the best they can get from you, and you can transfer. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sukomi, yeah, you're next.
Okay, so I worked at MME Songs Royal Arts Academy for 8 years, and it was just a passion, just teaching young filmmakers, directing, producing, and acting. And in that period, I saw a lot of filmmakers evolve. The writer of Black Book, Bumi Ajakaye, was a student at Royal Arts. Lotachuku, who is a known actor, was a student there. So in that period, I saw that a lot of young people that want to come into filmmaking, they have a lot of questions. Some of those questions, for people that are experienced, they are simple questions. But for them, they're difficult questions to answer. And some emerging film talents, they chase the answers to these questions for 5 years. But when you get into a program where you are nurtured, you see that the answer to those questions can come to you in a day or in a week, and it's one of the things that I'm passionate about. And working on the FILMLAB Africa project, one of the things that endeared me to it was that opportunity to answer questions for these young people. Because there are, let me use this word, insanely talented people out there. Some people don't even know how to do contracts, don't even know how to write invoices. Some people have talents for cinematography, but they don't know how to connect, to even jumpstart their career. They don't know where to go, what doors to knock. And having a project like this, like FILMLAB Africa, where people are trained on the business of filmmaking, on the technique of filmmaking, it answers a lot of questions for them. Interfacing directly with story mentors, with facilitators, people that have years of experience, and most importantly, having access to finance, becomes an important factor, in giving people the inspiration and the right motivation to need, to just get going.
Thank you so much. I think that's very, very insightful, to hear from people, the hands-on people. And Peju, I'm coming to you. So Peju, seated here, is the CEO of Selling One Foundation. Now, from a social impact perspective, I know you have also been supporting, some of these industry projects. So my question will be, what are the sustainability challenges that you see, right? How do we keep these things going? Like a film lab, are we going to have it running for 10 years? So I think sustainability is very, very key and critical to whatever we are doing. Fantastic ideas, impactful ideas, but then, do you really see sustainability as a challenge, and how do we tackle it? Especially financing, for example.
Thank you very much, Ijoma. So I will start by giving a brief history of myself, right? So my first degree was in mass communication. So I was supposed to be trained to make films and create all kinds of content. But when you go into the real world, you realize that it's not that easy. I have family, I have friends that are creatives. And somehow it's almost like every creative is supposed to be broke. Because they're constantly looking for funds to bring to life their very fantastic idea, constantly, in different circles of creatives, especially film, because they spend years getting the script ready. And yet, it's almost like they're constantly struggling. As a filmmaker myself, and I have had the opportunity to work with the different skill sets that comes to a film set, you realize that, in all fairness, I really still do not believe that these people are being paid their worth. And I can't blame the producers, because they're also trying to manage that very fantastic budget. There's a problem. That is why the first time Brenda mentioned the FILMLAB Africa project to me, I was excited. I said, yes, let's do this. Because we have to find a way to ensure that the funding coming to this sector will be sustainable, and it will not just be looked at as, oh, I just want to express my idea. When people are writing those scripts, they'll be thinking, okay, it's time for me to make big money. Because what you find is they're just trying to look for money to make that film. I have seen so many filmmakers that they're looking for money to produce the film. I said, what about the marketing? Somehow they believe that someone is going to market it all the distributors will do the marketing. It is unrealistic. There's a significant knowledge gap, and that gap needs to be blocked. That is why I'm really excited about the FILMLAB Africa, because it seeks to block this gap, empower them, and give them visibility, not just locally, but also internationally. With reference to sustainability, capital always goes to where there is results, where there are rewards. And that is why, if you look at the financial services sector that I've also been privileged to work at, the customer that continually pays up on their loans will continually get credit. As a matter of fact, they approach them and say, do you want an increase in that your financing? You understand? Because you've been able to provide a track record to show that you can deliver value. And I believe that we are at that place where what we're going to be watching today will hopefully be able to give us that value and guarantee returns. If you will permit me to mention that at the financial institution that we partner with, Sterling Bank, they're currently investing equity in films, not just debt. Equity, part ownership, you know what that means? We're going to market it together. We both have a stake in it. I'm not just giving you money and then hounding you to pay back your loan. No. You can't pay back the loan. Okay, what else do we do? What other strategies? We're working together. It's a partnership. If there's anyone that is interested, you can go to sterling.ng/entertainment. And I'm hoping that this project will also leverage from that. Those are my words.
Thank you so much. I think Yeah. Thank you. So, Brenda, for you, would you say it was lack of mentorship that made you to struggle when you? I don't think it was a failure. Would you consider that a failed
Oh no,
project?
it was a success.
It was a
At least
success.
by
Yes.
regular standards. It
Yes.
was just about me. Well,
But your struggles, is it traceable to the fact that you didn't have, excuse me, the right kind of guidance? You were not exposed to the right information? Because again, we have to, and that's what we've done with this, the summit. We want to bring the balance between creativity and business. Because creatives are very passionate. Every filmmaker, their film is the best, whether you like it or not. You understand? It's not arguable. But then again, there are basic things, right? I've cancelled a deal with a filmmaker because I came up with a 17-page contract and she said, no, I'm not reading through this. Just give me the money. You know I will deliver. I said, I know you deliver, but you need to sign this contract for me, So we have a lot of people who are in that, place. And so would you consider yourself as one of those kind of people? And if there are people in this room who are also there right now, not knowing how to really put themselves together, what would be your advice for them?
I think that Nollywood has a lot of shadow and mystery, and unnecessarily so. Putting my money where my mouth is was making that production, and I'd worked in theater for a very long time, and I run casts of 100, 150 people, big musicals, ginormous, you understand? So I wasn't a novice in terms of budgeting, admin, and all of those things. And prior to that time, it was like filmmaking was calculus, advanced mathematical engineering. That's the way filmmakers presented it. Do you understand? They always made it look like it was one thing. I graduated in computer and mathematics. So yeah, and I did not get a third class. So I'm like, logically, what is going on? So what showed was there wasn't enough information. There wasn't enough information at all, I was lucky that in my network in theater, a lot of people had moved into film. And so they were able to, plug some of those gaps for me. But in terms of contracting, because I did gigs, my theater events were gigs. So I would do one and that's it. And then I'll do another one. And so the contracts were short term. It was, 4 weeks in a venue, load in for the 4 weeks and load out. And my actors, the contracts were just repetitive. It wasn't new. So I didn't have the information. That's what it was. I just didn't have the information. And at the time, there weren't a lot of people who were ready to share. I think it's because they also didn't have the information, but nobody wanted to admit to it. Yeah. But now I feel like there's a lot of information. At the height of it, you can always go to YouTube, when it's tight.
Basic.
Yes. At the height, when you're like stuck, you can actually go to YouTube and be like, okay, tell me how to XYZ. And if you put in Nollywood, now that I have a best friend called Gemini is the AI on Google. Gemini tells me everything. Everything I want to know. Nollywood, Hollywood, Bollywood, Gollywood, any wood. Turkish wood, Gemini sorts me out. So, there's a lot of pathways to getting your information now. Summits like this are an opportunity for people to network. And that's another thing. The information is just as big as the network you have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And so, Sukomi, you are also on that creative side, right? And we are saying that we need to bring together or create a balance between being artistic. There's nothing wrong with that, being a creative, but at the same time, how do we create a balance between artistic and also industry standards, industry trends, because having a passion is not enough. A lot of people have gotten to where they are because, they were passionate and their passion was driving. I know somebody called me and said, my brother-in-law wants to invest money, XYZ, 20 million. Should he or she give this money? I'm like, what has the person done? Have you even done a short film? Have you, have you put something on YouTube? Like, how can I guarantee 20 million is going to come back, right? And then you find out that you give these guys this money. At the end of the day, just like Brenda was struggling because of an knowledge gap, there's also a struggle. So how do we fix these gaps clearly between the creative side, the artistic side, and the business side?
Okay. It's important that this happens. The major issue with creatives, and it's interesting that sometimes filmmakers say, what did that filmmaker produce that he got that investment? And maybe all that person had was structure to present to Netflix, to present to Amazon, to present to Sterling One. And there are a lot of super talented filmmakers, and just because of the lack of knowledge, about finance, about marketing, about the journey of a film. There's something called the journey of a film. Because when you make a film, the film ends up somewhere. It starts from somewhere and ends up somewhere. And that's the financing of the film. And that's like a major gap, that film. And that's not to say that there aren't filmmakers that have cracked this. There are filmmakers that understand that process, that understand that for me to get finance, for me to get support for my film, I need to put structure to what I'm doing. I need to be able to convince the investors or whoever is interested, in my film, to buy into it. But for every 2 filmmakers that understand that, there are 20 other filmmakers on different levels that need that knowledge, that needs to cover that gap. And I think I'm going to come back to FILMLAB Africa. We had a session on contract, and a lot of the participants were amazed at a lot of things that they didn't know about contracting. There are a lot of filmmakers established that don't even issue invoices. There are certain things that you do. The moment you do that, the truth is, as a creative, you're first and foremost passionate. You just want to get the work done. But when you are engaging with third party, when you're engaging with finance, having that understanding that you need to put a structure to what you're doing makes a difference. And on FILMLAB Africa, what we've tried to do is to let these participants understand that this is important. We give them grants, and in giving them grants, there are criteria. There is a due diligence that needs to be done. As a partner myself, as a creative, working with the British Council was a learning curve. To understand how to put your papers together, how to put your finance together. What's the result of this? What's the end goal, of this? So I've learned, and in learning that has been transferred to 60 other participants who has now worked with other people in making their films. They're working with cinematographers, with sound designers, with art directors, and they are requesting that of those people. So it's like that knowledge needs to be transferred, and that can be done through mentorship, by bridging that knowledge gap, in the industry. And if this continues, I think we're going to keep seeing that change, because there's a spotlight on Nollywood at the moment. And that structure is just what we need to get to where we're going.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So Tolu, I just want to have a sense from you in terms of barriers to support, right, for young and upcoming filmmakers, and I would like to also hear your view on that. What are the possible, what are is there gatekeeping for these young people? Yeah, it's a conversation we all have to have, because at the end of the day, we just finished a session with the Multi-Choice Talent Factory and Wazobia Academy, who are also, almost doing similar things. And it's interesting how they have used their structures, existing structures. Wazobia has about 5, 6 radio stations across Nigeria, and how they are plugging these guys into these radio stations. And then Multi-Choice also doing the same thing, commissioning. I know that the alumni was commissioned to do about 200 and something episodes of series, which is also trying to bring value to what these guys are doing. So, but it's because they have the structure in place. You understand? So how, for people who, find themselves in this industry and they're not attached to a film lab, they're not attached to a Multi-Choice or to a Wazobia, how What are those barriers and how can we address them?
Well, when we talk about barriers, we're talking about places where you prevent access. So, where the primary thing or any structure should be doing is thinking of how do you move and get to a place where you can realize the vision that you have. Knowledge is, for me, I feel, is the first place. You actually having the knowledge of where to go, skills. We are supposed to give you access to a skill set. One of the things I wanted to just come back to that thing about business. I come from advertising, so we're used to knowing how to talk in a room. So we know the creativity is business for us. So when you're, as a director, you need to know how to communicate to get money from a client. And one of the key things most directors don't know how to do is to be in a room, be in a boardroom, and know how to say, this idea is worth this, or this idea is going to be this. And that's one of the things, or on our side, that we, pitch deck presentations, we do teach that. But we create access to knowledge, access to some funding. I feel it's very important that the filmmaker is able to make a film. They're filmmakers, not film learners. So they must be able to have the access to make a film. After they have the knowledge, they must be able to make something. And there are many ways to do it. You can make it on your phone. You can make it with a camera. In our academy, they are funded to make a short film. They all have to collaborate within the system we operate. The art directors, the actors, everybody are all students, so they all have to collaborate. Collaboration is a very strong thing. You must be able to work together to make a film. And which is similar to exactly what you're doing. You must come together to make this movie. So the access to the platforms, then the access to a film to be promoted so that people know that you're the ones that made this film. The platforms that will enable you to be seen. You being able to be at a premiere. You having a conduit to a film festival that now enables people to see the product that you've made and now gives you further prominence. So those are the things this structure should do. So first and foremost, the knowledge, the skill. The knowledge to be able to do the business, to present yourself. Then lastly, I think, is the finished product. When he talks about the journey of the film, the finished product has to be in a place where it's exhibited. And which we're all here today for an exhibition of the products people have made. And kudos to you and congrats to everyone that's made a film that's going to be screened tonight. And that in turn helps the filmmakers to have some form of prominence and credibility, and they start to become a brand and they do more business.
Thank you so much. Before I take Brenda's opinion, because Brenda, I actually want to also hear you on this. Please, if you're here and you're wearing the yellow tag and you're attending NiFS, the Ghanaian delegation, they're out there. If you want to have meetings with them, they just ask me to let you know. For those who are wearing the yellow tag, that out there at the Kano Terrace, you have filmmakers from Ghana who will like to meet and connect and network with you. So yeah, back to the conversation, the barriers, right? What would be your perspective on that?
The barrier is knowledge. Outside of these privately funded academies, we have no film school. You understand? There's no standard film school. So there are these academies that are doing wonderful, you understand? But there are versions of a film degree, Mass comm, they hide film underneath. There's film studies, I think, in UNN. But we don't have it. So that's the first thing. And I'm not sure what's going on with our curriculum. But first off, that curriculum needs to be fixed because people are making films on their mobile phones. Do you understand? So that's the first thing. So knowledge, that's the biggest thing. And with filmmaking, it comes with everything. It doesn't just come with how to lift your camera up and do X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. It's also the business of it, the marketing, the admin, all of those things. And we don't have that. And then the apprenticeship system that works for us in Nigeria, which is the way we all learn, to be very honest, is gate-kept. Yes. And not gate-kept because, is gate-kept because there's no trust. Do you understand? I take my time and I apprentice a person, and then there's no value for me because immediately he understands just the simple principles, he's out. He's going to set up his own business, he's going to set up his own, you understand? And I know a lot of creatives suffer this thing, you understand?
You think it's a bad thing?
No, trust. It's about trust. It's about trust. Now, if I'm investing, do you understand? I'm not trying to use you. I'm just trying to build skill. And in building skill, it means I'll remunerate. I'll pay you. But I just need more people to understand what I do, the way I do it, and do it well. And maybe even improve on it. But what you find is, I can't work with you. You're not done. You haven't gotten all the information. You've gone to set up this platform and structure. And then you're perpetuating, half-baked ideas. So this is where I start again. I have been through this cycle. I can't tell you. I call myself the platform. Yeah. Many people have come through platforms that I launched. Many superstars. But they don't finish. They don't learn it all. And then they go off. You understand? We don't have film administrators who work as art administrators. We don't have them. We don't have people who understand the business of creativity. We have creatives all up and down the place. You are one of the few film administrators that I know. You understand? And you know how you hustled to get the information and the knowledge that you had. It wasn't taught to you in any school. You understand? Yeah. So we have that. So those barriers allow us not to have the structure of a film industry. We still are, we're not there. We're not there yet. It's not full. So those are the things. And then, of course, finance. Structured finance, where you can do equity, you can do debt, and debt has to be long. It can't be, I need it in 6 months. I need it in 18 months. It has to be long, So all of that information is not domiciled anywhere. It's not deposited anywhere. You have to burn your fingers to learn it. And some people have only one chance. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the barriers, to be honest. It's not that I want to be a filmmaker, carry camera, and that's it. There's a reason why some people are making 100 million, 200 million, the statistics that were shared to us earlier today. There's a reason, because there's some structure behind that. So those are the things that are missing. Curriculum, knowledge, finance, and then people.
Thank you so much. This is very interesting. Reju, how do we fix this? How do we fix these gaps? Yeah.
My strategy to solving any problem is baby steps, especially if it is as humongous as the one we're dealing with right now. Identify what are the low-hanging fruits. Demonstrate capacity to solve these problems. Present the solutions and the wins to the critical stakeholders. And when I say critical stakeholders, I mean those that have the process, those that have the policies, and that can influence or drive or change the relevant policies. Advocate for those policies to be changed to create the relevant enabling environment for everyone to thrive. So what all of us are doing individually, in partnerships, they're very good. But it's critical to have those policies that can change the game for the entire country. That is what I think. So this, for me, I'm hinging my hope on FilmLab Africa. I believe in it so much. And I am trusting that it will be like that drop in an ocean that will cause a ripple that can hopefully turn to a wave, and Hurricane Katrina or something like that.
So, hang on. So are you saying you are funding FilmLab Africa? You're supporting them?
Look out for cohort 2 news.
Okay.
We're going to be announcing our partners very soon. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. So I've committed them all without mentioning their name, but they're sitting next to me. You know this.
Okay, this is we are looking. Are you all not looking forward to next cohort? And for those who are also maybe perhaps you missed this first. The next cohort. You missed the first one. We are being told in a very nice way that something big is coming.
Look, that's all I'm going to say. Look, Don't close your eyes. You'll miss it. Look.
Interesting. And so for me, before we take questions, because it's a long night, right? Um, it's very interesting that every of the conversations that we've had, we've been here since morning, since 9 o'clock in the morning, driving different conversations. But there's one common denominator what I've heard here. I've been doing this for years, but today is very special because we found out that people are really passionate about the industry, but that begs the question, where is the government? Where is the government in all these things? We've heard the French embassy, what they are doing in our industry with animation. They've been taking the animation Nigeria to Annecy every year for the past 4 years. And we have also worked with them since 2018. And we're taking 20 companies this October to France for the biggest market in television. So do you think maybe there's somebody in the room, you never know, who will take this message to the government to say, listen, there is work to be done and people
I
are
volunteered
stepping
myself.
in. Okay.
I volunteered myself. I'll say it's a privilege, to initiate conversations with the government. And it feels like they want to do the same things, But like you've said, policies, do you understand? The policies that exist, we do have great policies for audiovisual content, We have a lot of fantastic policies. We have policies that support the ecosystem funding, through taxations and all of those things. However, there has not been the will, So this particular government that has come in is trying to trigger and activate some of those things. But it's left to them to describe their roadmap and, all the things that they want to do. I wish they were here in this room. I wish they were here in this room. And I hope that, as we push FilmLab and as we continue, they will listen. I know that I've invited them to roundtables, panels, and they've come and they've said, what they would like to do. It's an ambition.
Yeah, it's an ambition,
it's
absolutely.
an ambition. So let's see if they have the will, to make their ambition, to solidify those ambitions.
Okay, so before I take the last points from everyone and then throw it up for questions, this ambition is something that, as collectively, as stakeholders in this industry, we need to drive because, when I look at a minister flying down from Ghana, he's out there right now, why are they here? Why? It speaks volumes. It speaks a whole lot to intentionality, to make things happen, to stir up things in their industry and make sure that they're opening up. Okay, what is the support? The Film Commissioner of Ghana is also here to say, come, we're happy to give you all the support and all that. So driving international collaborations, Ghana has taken off ahead of Nigeria, unfortunately, I don't know. But these are things that we have to, at any opportunity we have, to create those conversations and help these guys in government to also understand, because sometimes it's a problem of lack of understanding. So having said that, I just want to take our final points and then we take questions so that we can go ahead with this evening's event, which is just starting.
Yes, it's just starting. I know that we've been talking about FilmLab, and don't worry, in the next, I'm sure, 10 minutes, you'll understand the breadth and scope and length of FilmLab, and hopefully you'll participate, partner, whatever it is, I feel like, and I said this on Saturday, and I've said this in a couple of places, all the creatives in this room were all pioneers, all of us. And the creatives in this room and the creatives 30 years ago till today were all pioneers. And there's a responsibility in that statement that you need to accept, that you may not get all the rewards, for all of your efforts in this state of creativity, filmmaking, music. You may not get all of it, but it's important that you realize that there are generations to come that require what you're doing now. They require it, or else the industry will die. The reason why Nollywood is such as its infancy is because between the time Ogunde was making films and when Living in Bondage happened, there was death. You understand? Creativity died. It died in the theater. It died everywhere. It was thankfully Junior and Pretty, Alexito, and people like that that kept Nigerian music a little bit on. And then, of course, Two-Face and all of them, the likes, supported it, Shout out to Kenny Ogugbe and D1. You understand? So you need to understand. You need to understand the value of what those men did that Wizkid, Burna is ripping today. So you are the Alexito of this time. Do you understand? So that the next set the next gen will not go and burn their fingers like I did, when I made the series and spent millions of naira doing it. They will have the structure. You would have made all of the mistakes. You would have made all of the errors. And you would have given them the right way to do it.
Thank you so much. That was a very good note to end. Pedro, yes.
That was too inspiring for me.
Highly.
I'm still having goose pimples. So I would go back to what we said about the public sector. So there's a project that we partner with the British Council on, which is the Africa Social Impact Summit. And we realized during the first edition, most of the panels were saying government should. So we did the communique and went to engage the government. And in all fairness, the initial response was, did you invite us? Were we part of the conversation? So this last time, we brought them from across the country. They were in the room. As we were saying government should, they were defending themselves and telling us what they were also doing. Less than a month after the engagement, other governments have started calling us. Bring them into the room. Not just at the national level. Subnationals that also have a thriving creative economy. Let us know what they are doing. It's an opportunity for all of us to learn because there's no one that knows it all. So that's my recommendation. Intentionally bring them into the room. I'm also volunteering with Brenda. We will do this together.
Wow. Women power.
That's very tough act to follow.
Yes.
But what I feel we're going through with the attention we have is I feel creatives, people that have to refine their processes. I was just having a conversation with Paul about that. There's a perception issue of creatives as wild, as uncultured, as people that just want to run with visions. And I think that perception sort of has to be managed through processes, through platforms like this, in having a process that's so refined. We talked about the Black Book phenomenon and the way they sort of become attractive because they look like they knew what they were doing, both locally and globally. And I think the one thing we can all take away is how we present ourselves as, and as really strong people to invest in, and just to look the part and be the part. I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Look the part, pick the part. Thank you.
All right. Should I still speak?
Yes.
Well, I would end by saying soft power. There's so much soft power in the film industry that we're not harnessing, and that soft power can work when we come together to engage. I see a lot of people engaging individually. You see individual successes all over the place. And I think if people that are vast in finance, in marketing, in distribution, the creatives, if there is a forum for people to come together and engage the government and engage the right people, I think there'll be far-reaching results as opposed to people just going as one. And for me, in my own experience, that's what I've seen. I've just seen individual successes all over the place. And that's what's important. Sorry, I'm going to come back to FILMLAB Africa again. There are two partners. That's Yemi Daramola from the UK. We have Don Omokwe, who is a technical consultant. The power of three. Between the three of us, we had harnessed some of the best talents to facilitate, to be story mentors, to be technical mentors on this project. The best, Yinka Ogun, Anthony Kehinde, Joseph, I can't even begin to mention. And that's just because of the power of collaboration. So we can't keep waiting, we can't keep doing things solo. So that togetherness for me, to bring in the powers that be, I think it would yield results, as Pedro has said. And if you can do that continuously, I think, there's a lot that can be achieved. Yeah.
Thank you. So, am I also supposed to add my own final words? So my own will be, sitting in this room right now is as a result of the power of collaboration, right? And it's because we have our strength in terms of building capacity, and FILMLAB, British Council have their strength in also supporting the industry. And we all said, come on, there's no point, like Sikomi said, having your individual success. So being here, it's a lot of work that has gone. I know that a lot of work has gone into the FILMLAB Africa project over the months, but also putting this together and having a seamless, organization between two different organizations. It's also something that I think is good for our industry. And I'm looking forward to a whole lot more on this, coming together, collaborating, and doing things that will elevate, things that will actually transform and impact the industry. So that will be my final words. Thank you. Do you have questions? Yeah, I want to take a couple of questions and then, we wrap it up. Yes, comment, please. First, let's take the comment, then the question. Yep.
Thank you very much indeed. Fantastic panel. I've learned a lot. We talked about the knowledge gap. So a lot has come up from the panelists. Just wondering, the FILMLAB Africa has produced 10 short films, 10 microfilms. It's just me trying to invite partnership to take this to scale. The British Council's resources. Nigeria is a massive country, So I'm inviting everybody in this room to join hands with the British Council to take this to scale. Let the number be hundreds instead of 10. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Question? Thank you.
Can I stand?
Why not?
All right. Hello, everybody. Yeah, my name is Kehinde. First and foremost, I want to appreciate Mrs. B, one of our mentors. She has mentored a lot of us. And I want you to join me to give her another round of applause for this initiative. Auntie B, thank you. All right, so my question, I've been teaching for more than 25 years, and I think the grassroots of every initiative should be schools. I just want to ask, can this be taken to universities where we all finished from? Can we be like invited lecturers to handle some of these courses? Can we join the table where they discuss curriculums? Can we also get some of us be part of government? Because I have families in the north, so I go to the northern part of Nigeria often, and what they say is that we are government, especially in this era of democracy. When we say we want to talk to governments, then who are you? Who am I? So not everybody should be on the screen. Not everybody should be handling cameras. What are we doing to even be the minister of Kenekon? Because if Auntie B is the minister, as I can carry my phone and call her, Auntie B, Utishele, Alpha, I'll be able to call her there, and then she understands it. If Sunki, my brother, Baba, Ejo, Alpha, how did they go? And it's part of government. Okay. But I just feel, a couple of months ago, I was abroad, and I met the man in charge of Carnegie Hall, and the man spoke that the man that gives them the highest money for the year is a Yoruba man, one Professor Yebode, gives them $10 million every year, And the man says, why? Because he's a musician from where I was trained, from the Museum Center. So the man understands classical music. Imagine if Suki is on the table where they are doing the budget for film and la. Yes. You're not going to use this place. You're going to be in like connecting. You're going to be in, a very bigger hotel. You get what I mean? Yes. So what effort are we making so that I will see Suki, I will see Auntie, I will see my big mentor there in the government?
Thank you. Yeah, yes, let's just take all the questions and then we'll respond to them.
Any other one? Okay, thank you very much. I would just want to sit, please. Thank you, Ijoma, for this wonderful opportunity. Ordinarily, I wouldn't be here, but I'm grateful that I came. So I want to really appreciate everyone for the inputs, especially in the movie and the TV. It's been years of hard work. But, okay, let me stand. So it's been years of hard work, and we've told the Nigerian story to a great extent. But I want to bring a little twist. We've had instances of foreign films where we've seen series that were centered around professional lives. For instance, you have Suits that deals on in the legal profession and all that. Yes, I think. Okay, by the way, I'm the publicity secretary for the Association of Private Practicing Surveyors of Nigeria in Lagos State. So I speak for surveyors. So thank you. So for my profession, the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors will be 90 this year. So that's 90 years of history, 90 years of stories that have not been told, from Herbert Macaulay to Adekunle Kukoi and all that. Now, the big question is, are we open to delving into this field? Are we open to delving into this field? Because I was speaking with the National Publicity Secretary of the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors yesterday, and if not for the short notice, he should have been here. He's based in Abuja, but he should have been here. So he has asked me to make this open, and then if there are people who are willing to collaborate, there will be great opportunity. Thank you. By the way, the official celebration is going to be in October in Abuja. Yes.
Are you inviting?
Yes, of course.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So it's very important to remember that this is a very, very commercial field. It's really, well, there's art, but primarily there's money to be made. And when you look at storytelling, one of the errors we've made in the past is not determining how to get the money back, how to ensure we're talking to the right audience and the right audience pays. Okay, there's no other way to make money from content like that. You have to sell it to an audience. Either you stream it, you go to the cinema, you buy tickets, you put it on airplanes, people watch it. You know, there are many ways. It must make money. And my question to you is, why do I want to watch Surveyors? Do you understand? And if I want to watch Surveyors, how do I make it that Surveyors look so sexy that people love it? Do you understand? So there's a whole storytelling that needs to be done. Development of a story is very expensive. And that is why you see that the foreign series do well, because they're invested in. You understand? So to build out those characters that you follow for 8 seasons, 5 seasons, you understand? Some of those characters, actors in those characters, earn $1 million per episode. You know, that's even more than what a footballer earns sometimes. You understand? So there's a whole process around that. And if you look at the end credits of a lot of content that is made, film, series, you start to see the people who put their money in. When you wait for all of the credits to go, then as you go towards the end, you start to see appreciation for the city of Georgia, or for the state of Georgia, for the city of Atlanta. You start to see appreciation for Poland. You start to see all of those things. Those are the people who contributed time, space, real estate, money, all of those things. So if you want to see that kind of professionalized storytelling around Surveyors, you need to find the money first. You need to find the money first so that you can hire the best of the best writers and the best of the best developers. And then you start to, do the work. And then you work with professionals, and then they help you to set your stuff up. But this is how it works. If you look carefully, and if you look at, especially films that come out of America, sometimes there are films you watch, you'll be like, why did they make this film? Who is it for? And it's really propaganda. Some of it is orientation. You understand? There's a film that is done about a service dog, that has gone to war. I'm like, okay, why? You understand? But there's a whole thing around veterans in America and the value of veterans And the dog was considered a veteran, and it was given an honorable thing. It's culture. We haven't harnessed it the best for us here on this side, but that's what it does. You understand? So if you want people to, for example, if you want more students to get into surveying, that's one way to do it. You can create a hero out of a surveyor who has saved the city from a sinkhole or landslide or any of those things. Yeah. So that's what it does. So that's how you get it done.
Thank you so much. And I think we have really had very engaging conversations this night. And for the lecturer in our midst, I think Brenda has donated herself to champion this course, as volunteered. And some of us were also part, even though for me I'm a bit averse with government, but we'll see. We'll go together. Yes, I need somebody like you to, hold hands. So yeah, we will see how we can get to those rooms because, like he said, there are people in this industry who actually should be lobbying in the Senate and, in the House of Rep for policies that will impact. We watched the Ghanaian president this morning telling us to come to Ghana. And you know why? Because the film commissioner is a filmmaker. The CEO, she's here, of the National Film Authority of Ghana. She's a filmmaker. She has won AMVCAs, so she understands, so you put the round peg in the round hole, and you see the impacts, you see the results, because, you don't buy these things as experience. So it's also very critical for us to continue to do our best as stakeholders in our industry to, elevate and create opportunities for elevation and for more impactful programs. So on this note, I want to say thank you. I hope you are not bored. Thank you for listening. And we still have a lot. So for the rest of the evening, we're going out to network. So like I already mentioned, if you have the yellow tag, there are Ghanaian delegation out there who want to meet you. There's food and drinks. There's food and drinks everywhere. There's food and drinks also on this side, right? For everyone here who is part of the FILMLAB Africa program. And, so please, it's opportunities like this. Let's network. Let's connect with each other. And remember, we're still going to watch film this night. So please go out and network just very shortly before Sukomi commands us to come back to watch the movie. So we're coming back in the next 15 minutes. Yeah, by 6:30. I don't think we're doing so badly in terms of timing. So yes. So by 6:30, please eat what you want to eat, drink what you want to drink, and then come back here so that we can get into the business.